All right, welcome to the San Joaquin River Conservancy Board meeting on October 1st, 2025. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Now roll call.
No, I need it. Okay, member McCauley, member Austin.
Here.
Member Bredefeld, member Richardson, member Mejia,
Here.
member Vance.
Here.
Member Gresham.
Here.
Member Forehand.
Here.
Member O'Connell.
Here.
Member Ruiz. Here. Member Chavez. Member Norris. Join yet?
Yeah.
They did, but then they keep leaving. Okay, sorry. Member Sharper. We have, I apologize, we're gonna have to wait for the,
Yeah, for them.
we're gonna have to wait for the Sacramento room to join.
Okay.
Jeez.
Rejoin.
They keep joining and leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Then we will have four. I did. The room keeps joining and then leaving.
Jen, Norris.
In the meantime, anybody have any good jokes they want to share? Anybody going to the fair?
I'm not sure if Jen or Rebecca, you know, which one would be attending for WCP?
Today?
Yeah, today. Always around my kid's birthday. So.
Yeah.
I do an organization report.
Not without farm.
We can't without quorum. Not without quorum.
That's when I do it right.
Andrew, then. Hi, can you hear us in Sacramento? Can you do it on the mic, Casey? It's right there.
Hi, can you hear us from Sacramento?
Yes, okay, I'm gonna read your names loud. Member Sharper,
Oh, okay.
can you guys hear me?
Can you repeat, please?
Is this on mute?
Moving on.
Oh, I thought it's muted.
Maybe I need the mic next to me.
Can you hear us?
We can hear you.
I just-
Yes, we can hear you.
Go
Can you
ahead.
hear us?
Try it, Stephen.
Hello? Just registered. Let's register again. What?
They gave us a new system in here.
Hi. Hi, can you hear us?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Checking, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
Hello,
I can't hear us.
can you hear me?
No.
Cheryl Hudson, can you hear me?
No. Oh, yes, I can hear you. Sorry.
Oh, yay.
Your sound was just, okay,
Dork.
all right. Continuing roll call. Member Sharper,
Here?
member Hudson,
Here.
member Benson,
Here?
and then member Norris.
Here.
There we go. All right, we have quorum. Thank you.
All right. Okay, any potential conflict, any board member who has potential conflict may identify the item and recuse themselves from the discussion. Any potential conflict? Nope, okay. Public comment. 10 minutes of the meeting is reserved for members of the public that wish to address the Conservancy of items of interest that are not on the agenda. Anyone from the public wish to address the board? Okay, we're just moving right along here. Consent items. All right. Any comments of the board on the consent items? No? Any public comment on the consent item? No? Do we have a motion? So moved. Second. First and a second? Okay. We have a first and a second. Do you do roll call or all in favor?
No,
you have to do roll call. Thank you.
All right. All right, member Austin,
Yes.
member Mejia,
Yeah.
member Vance,
Yes.
member Gresham,
Yes.
member Forehand,
Yes.
member O'Connell,
Yes.
member Ruiz,
Yes.
member Norris. Member Norris online?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Member Sharper online?
Yes. Sorry.
Member Hudson online?
Yes.
Member Benson online?
Aye.
Thank you, the ayes have it.
All right.
Now I'm gonna turn it.
Okay. Moving on to regular session items, item F1, presentation, the San Joaquin River Parkway and Trust.
So, for item F1, before we turn it over to the River Parkway Trust, I'm gonna just read the summary.
Somebody let Nick in, please.
Oh, we'll wait for Nick and then I'll read the summary. Yes.
Join us.
Come on, in. You're right. Okay, so this report is provided for informational purposes only and no action by the San Joaquin River Conservancy Board is required. Pursuant to the operation agreements between the Parkway Trust and the Conservancy, the Parkway Trust is required to submit a written annual operations report each year for Sycamore Island and Quick Ranch, formerly known as Ball Ranch, detailing all activities conducted at the premises during the prior fiscal year, which is July 1st through June 30th. This report must be submitted to the Conservancy and filed with the state no later than September 30th annually, which was yesterday. The annual operations report will be made available to the public upon request and will be posted on both the Parkway Trust and Conservancy's websites. The annual operation report must include a financial summary and details of operational activities, including but not limited to the hours of operation, fee schedule, special events, interpretive and educational activities, cultural resource activities, natural resource activities, recreational programs, and repairs. Furthermore, within 60 days following submission of the annual operations report, the Parkway Trust shall formally present the report to the Conservancy Governing Board for the purpose of public review and comment. Sharon Weaver, Executive Director of the River Parkway Trust, will now provide an overview and presentation of the annual reports for Sycamore Island and Quick Ranch. Sharon.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to just go through these slides that we've prepared. We did this, when Carrie and I talked about scheduling this, we weren't sure exactly how the timing would work out, but we managed to make it work. Our report was due yesterday, and here we are making the presentation today. So let's go ahead and advance, please, to the next slide. So here are some basics about our operation at Sycamore Island. This is a property that is open 7 days a week. There is no fee charged Monday through Friday. There are annual passes available. We have staffing during all open hours, and we have people at the bait shop as well as roaming the site to keep an eye on people and answer questions. We sell various snacks and sundries at the bait shop, and of course have restrooms throughout the park. We do also provide canoe and kayak rentals.
I'm sorry, you said there were no fees, but then on weekends, it's the $9?
I apologize, yes, no fees
Okay.
on weekdays.
Okay,
Fees are charged on weekends.
okay, perfect, thank you.
And we kept the operation that way so that in the future, at, whatever time we may come to, when we don't have operations and maintenance funding available, then the idea of charging fees won't be totally new and different to people. And is there a way that we can advance the slides?
Yep.
Okay. So this is the most visitors we've ever had at Sycamore Island, so we're excited about that. I guess that's not surprising that we have the most visitors ever, since this is the first full year that we've been open 7 days a week. But it just demonstrates that, people want to have access to the River Parkway. It's really important for us to provide access. And so we're excited to see that big increase in visitors and happy anglers. So we do charge fees. We also sell various items, and that's how we offset operations costs. So as you may recall, we have a contract from the Conservancy and you reimburse us for our expenses to operate the sites. But those reimbursement requests are offset by the income that we generate through vehicle fees and then also through the sale of various items. So as you can see, we raised about 95,000, a little over 95,000 from July of 24 through June of 21. So there are a lot of maintenance items that still need to be completed at Sycamore Island, but one of the really beautiful things we completed was this new signage, and I think it improves, the look and feel and how welcoming the park is, a great deal. We also did some stocking in a couple of ponds at the site. And it took a number of months actually for us to do some research and get agreement on what we were going to stock and where we were going to stock it. It's not as easy as you might expect to get large quantities of fish delivered and stocked into a pond, but we did finally get that done this year. And then we've also been working on reducing fuel loads by trimming low branches on trees so that hopefully we can reduce any fire danger we might have out there. Quick Ranch. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Quick. Should we all practice saying Quick?
Quick.
We do.
Such a fun name. So we're excited about the new name for the property formerly known as Ball Ranch. And this is a site that just opened in November of last year. We are not charging fees at this site yet. And part of the reason when we made a proposal to operate the site, the reason we didn't propose charging fees is that there isn't very much infrastructure at the site. So we didn't feel like the market, would absorb fees because there just isn't that much out there right now. It's a dirt parking lot during the summer months. It's a pretty hot place, but it's a really beautiful place during the winter and spring months. So it's open 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to approximately sunset. So the hours vary by season. So we do have 2 park hosts on site anytime the property is open. There are some nice trails out there for people to enjoy. And of course, the major attraction at Ball Ranch is access to the main fishing pond there, which is a pond that the old timers in the area remember fishing way back in the 50s and 60s, I think, when the Balls operated the property. It is also, of course, attached to Sumner Peck Ranch. So there's kind of a nice trail opportunity going through that site. And we have a beautiful egret. Yeah, go ahead and advance. You can do that. We have the beautiful egret that was Cheryl's brainchild at the entrance to the site. I think it's such a nice aerial photo. We have a relatively small amount of visitors at Ball Ranch compared to Sycamore Island, but that's because it was open for a shorter period of time. And I think we're still working on getting information out about access to the site. I think there's still a lot of people that don't realize that that site is accessible. So we'll continue working on marketing that. We don't generate any fees at this site, so we do provide some snacks and bait, things like that. But as you can see, it's a pretty, most people that come to that site, they come with their own supplies. So they're not really looking to buy anything on the site. We accomplished some bigger maintenance projects on this site, and this is really what I'm most excited about, what we've been able to do at Ball Ranch this year. As you know, all of you who have driven by the site hasn't looked very good for a number of years. And now that we finally got the front entrance cleaned up, we've got the new gate installed with the Conservancy's logo on it. Looks very professional and attractive. And of course, we removed and reused all of the logs on the site. We still have some piles of wood chips that we need to reuse. But those are some of the big items that we accomplished this year. We did also have to fence off the ecological reserve, and we have most recently been working again on fuel load reduction. All the trees right along Bryant Road have been pruned up and look much, much better. Every day when I drive by the property, I think, oh, thank God, it's so good now. Is that our final slide?
It is.
Okay, so I will just mention, you know, our report, we're required to report on these kind of basics of the operation, but our purpose in operating these sites is much bigger than just the hours and the fees and all of that. It's about creating support for the staff in our department. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is the partnership that we've put together this year, including the Community Foundation, and hopefully you'll hear from Ashley Swearingen at your next meeting. But one of the things that took place this spring, which was totally Ashley's doing, kind of a last minute event, and we were able to bring Senator Adam Schiff out to visit Sycamore Island. And I think the entire history of the Parkway, I don't think we've ever had a sitting U.S. Senator visit the Parkway. So that was incredible. It's incredible to have that kind of visibility for the Parkway. And I think in terms of moving the Parkway forward and continuing to build support for it, that's the kind of things we need to do all the time. So I'm excited about continuing to find new ways to build support for the Parkway. I think these first steps in terms of improving the maintenance, improving the look and feel, making people feel welcome and safe at the sites, that's the first part of it. And then increasing the visibility, improving the marketing is the second part of it. And that is my report for you. Thank you. Any questions?
I have a quick question. So I've only been out to Sycamore during the week. So I haven't been out there when you collect fees. So, do you have like a kiosk set up that everyone has to go through, or how do you?
We have our staff at the bait shop keep an eye on the cars driving in. You can see them from the bait shop. So basically, if they see that cars aren't coming to the bait shop, then they go out and look for people.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Sure. I caught the 95,164.12 and the revenue for Sycamore Island. Was there something in the presentation that said the total operating costs?
We did not include that. That's included in a form that we submit to the Conservancy. So I think our total operating
Oh, that might
costs
be it. Okay.
are around, don't quote me on this. I need to look at the form to double check the number, but it's approximately 700 something for this last fiscal year, which we operate on a calendar year. One of the kind of unique quirks of the reporting that we do on this is that the report that includes the financials is based on a calendar year, but this operating report is based on the state fiscal year. So we're kind of reporting on two different timeframes. So for 2024, I believe our operations expenses were around 760,000, something like that. And then with the revenue offset, it was about 665.
How many staff are out there?
We have 2 people on staff at all times, but part of the expenses are these maintenance projects that we were doing. And so we would be bringing contractors and additional staff in to do that.
Things like mechanics and fencing.
Exactly, yes.
So is that going to be significantly lower next year than the rest of $1
It depends. So the big outstanding maintenance project at Sycamore Island is improving the roads. The roads are in really bad shape out there, and part of what we proposed was to do a major overhaul on those roads and add a road additive to the sand and gravel that's out there so that the roads would be more stable over time. And that's an expensive project, maybe a couple of $1 million to do that project. If we don't do that project next year, then yes, I think the cost would be lower.
Do you guys sell beer at the bait shop?
No.
Might be time to start. Thanks. That's all I have.
That makes different problems.
Another set of problems.
Member Hudson has a question
Great,
online.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and it's actually on behalf of member Sharfer. So I'm wondering with the fish plantings and how much revenue you're generating, how much do the fish plantings themselves cost? And are you getting grants from like Fish and Wildlife to do that and getting on their rolls, their list to populate? Or are you paying for that directly?
We paid for that using the money from the contract, and the Department of Fish and Wildlife does stock trout at the site during the winter months of the year. But this was stocking for sport fish, warm water and sport fish, and that's what we did.
Yeah, and the department doesn't raise warm water fish except for in super limited circumstances, but not those. So if you want to have fish during the warmer months, you need to have something other than trout, which is what we raise. So.
Great. So that would never come from Fish and Wildlife. The sport fish would always be paid for. So how much did those fish cost? We know we're not generating revenue there. So how much was spent?
Again, don't quote me on these numbers because I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think it was around $30,000. I think that's what we've budgeted for fish. Do you remember?
It's 20.
Okay, thank you. $20,000. Good.
20,000. Okay, and just like the vision, is that the board's vision is that it's going to bring people out there when we start generating, start collecting more fees, and that's going to bring people in. Just, I'm trying to get a sense of what is the vision with putting that expenditure out there.
So my take on that would be that the site has historically been used as a warm water fishing site. And we know that as the San Joaquin River Restoration Program continues, there is less fishing possible on the main stem of the San Joaquin River, which makes off-stream fishing opportunities more important. So it's really to serve a number of purposes. To some extent, it's to just improve the visitor experience so that there are more fish, more catchable fish at the site. It's something that when you're operating fishing ponds like this, you have to restock every now and then. And I think the last time these ponds were stocked was probably back in the early 2000s. It's been quite a long time since they've been stocked. So this isn't the kind of expense that you would look at as an annual operating expense. It's an every now and then you need to, restock the fishery so that you have a healthy fishery at the site.
And I don't know how many people, what proportion of visitors are anglers, but I imagine it's quite significant.
I would say at least 3/4.
Yeah.
Okay, just one last question on this, and sorry to stick on the fish thing, but is there any monitoring just to make sure like our investment, was it fished out, 20,000, was that kind of like they kind of got depleted, or is there like a repopulation study or anything like that, or we're just kind of letting it ride and see how it happens?
I wouldn't say that we have specific plans for monitoring, but we have worked with the department to do some monitoring of the fish populations. We did that prior to stocking the site so that we would have an idea of which of the ponds were healthiest and which of the ponds were the best candidates for stocking. One of the reasons that we chose to stock adult bass rather than juvenile bass is that we wanted some bass that could reproduce right away. As part of that effort to create a sustainable fishery at the sites and improve the fishery overall. So I would not imagine that those fish are all fished out. It's a lot of fish that we put out there, and there aren't that many people fishing all the time. So I think it's a good investment, and we can certainly look at doing some surveys in the future to answer those questions more specifically.
Okay, thank you. That's all for me.
Yeah, to really answer those questions, we would have to do kind of an analysis and then also possibly creel surveys, but I don't know that that's necessarily worth the effort, but it'd probably be better just to do kind of an assessment of the fish assemblage at some point and the age, just to see like, are they reproducing, how many are we getting, but probably a little bit soon for that, given how many you put out there.
And I have one question, I'll take it out. So your system for charging on weekends, have you considered having someone out there? I could see who was at the bait shop being busy with a customer and missing 4 or 5 cars that go by, and it'd be just human error. I mean, you can only have your eyes so many places.
I mean, we do have people put their receipts on their car windshields as our people are going around the site. If they see somebody that hasn't paid clearly, then they can let that person know that they need to visit the bait shop and pay their fee. I think as we're thinking about future maintenance projects at the site, I like the idea of putting a kiosk closer to the entrance. That's not something that we've really looked at closely yet, because the building is, what I've learned over the years is putting people in little tiny buildings makes it even harder to hire people for these kinds of jobs. So, you know.
I had that kind of job in high school. I know.
Yeah.
No, it's not fun.
People having you know, a decent place to spend time during their workday is helpful. And
Right.
one of the reasons that I haven't really pushed to do like a little kiosk at the entrance, like you say, Woodward Park or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have one of those at Camp Fishan, and it was problematic. There was a lot of vandalism to it. So we haven't looked at it as being like worth the benefit, but it's certainly something to look at.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Any more questions from the board? All right, I'll take it out to the audience. Carl, you're up.
Concept of largemouth bass, I realize that they're disconnected from the river. But they are the major predator of us getting a salmon population to get through the river to the ocean. And so it just sort of bothers me that we're putting largemouth bass out there. I know they're not in the river, but some of them are going to end up in the river. And they're the ones that are the biggest predator of the salmon fingerlings getting to the ocean.
I'm gonna think, okay. All right.
I'm out on the river all the time. And when the trout were stocked there, everybody was going wild that I talked to on the Fresno side. Oh, we were just over at Scout Island and we absolutely loved it. I think that's a really good thing that's happening. There's just so much excitement. I see out there and I see people fishing all the time. Thank you.
I want to make a comment to Carl. So while predation is an issue, the biggest issue is having adequate flows and habitat. And if you have the right flows and habitat, it's really largely unsuitable for those fish. So it's a big issue where you have those ponds that are connected and if they get kind of stray into those. But if you have a good healthy river with decent flows, those fish aren't going to do well. And those meanings of that.
Interesting. I'm learning so much about fish I never knew. All right. Well, thank you, Karen. Any more questions before we move on? Okay. We will move on now to an action item, adoption of the second addendum of the environmental impact report for River West Fresno Eaton Trail.
So item F2, after providing an opportunity for public comment, it is recommended that the Conservancy Governing Board as the lead agency for the proposed River West Fresno Eaton Trail Extension Project consider and take action to adopt the second addendum to the River West Fresno Eaton Trail Extension Final Environmental Impact Report pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act. So it is recommended that the Conservancy Governing Board conduct the meeting as follows. So here the staff presentation. Have initial board questions and staff responses, and the board chair or vice chair in this case would open for public comment, and speakers shall be limited to a maximum of 3 or fewer minutes each as necessary to provide all interested parties the opportunity to comment. The board chair will close the public comment and then there'll be board deliberation. If the Conservancy Governing Board does not take action at the October board meeting, the board may continue the agenda item and deliberations to the next possible board meeting, which will be November of this year, and then we'll break and it won't be available until February. So I don't believe anyone from the city or Provost and Pritchard has come today, so we will continue with the presentation and I'll provide that. Is he? Oh, Michael is online. Okay, so I will turn it over to Michael and he can provide the presentation on the project for addendum 2.
Very good. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Wasn't certain if this was going to be on the agenda today or not. So we, at the direction of the board, the city and as their consultant, team of Provost and Pritchard, put together the addendum 2 to the CEQA environmental impact report that was done for the River West Fresno Eaton Trail Extension project. The background for this was that the original EIR, the project area, did not extend further east past the gate at the parent undercrossing at State Route 41. Part of the linkage to the existing Eden Trail would include the addition of a curb ramp and addition of sidewalk where there's currently just dirt behind the curb at the undercrossing. So in order to cross T's and dot I's, this addendum was prepared to rectify the project limits and include the additional scope of work to connect from the east side of State Route 41 with a new curb ramp and sidewalk going underneath State Route 41 to the Woodward West, the new trailhead and access point there. And that was the impetus for the this addendum 2, and it was prepared again at the direction of the Conservancy and the board.
So I would just like to add that the City of Fresno and the Conservancy have completed their review of this addendum, and it is, what was included? Or yes, it is included. I have attachment 1. Since the time that we released the packet, the Conservancy's legal team has reviewed it and has provided that only just a few grammatical errors needed to be corrected. So we're not anticipating any comments from the City of Fresno legal, but then again, we don't know for sure. We can't speak to that for sure. But on the screen is a picture of the connecting area between Jensen River Ranch and Woodward Park. At the bottom is the approach. And then at the top is the undercross or the underpass or the overcrossing, and then the road that leads to River West Fresno to the core project parking area. On the right-hand side of the road is the complete sidewalk with the curb and gutter. On the left side is the side that has the dirt that does not have the sidewalk, curb and gutter. So adding that piece will provide connectivity between the properties and safe access for pedestrians. So at this time, again, consistent with what we've included as our directions for moving this presentation forward, that was the staff presentation. And then if there are any board questions, we're happy to provide responses.
Any board questions? Nick?
Question with the Eden Trail, is that susceptible or qualifying for all ADA compliance considerations?
You're asked, is the Eaton Trail ADA compliant?
Yes, is it ADA applicable to that? And
Yes.
in which case, everything would have to be ADA compliant. Okay, then right there where it connects to the Lewis Eaton Trail, figure 2.2-2, that is it understood that the opening from Woodward Park would be unblocked, ADA accessible, and everything leading down, because currently that's really a trail that ends nowhere.
So you're talking about up on the hill on Woodward Park?
Bottom right portion of the picture on figure 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this, if I may jump in there, we've looked at that and talked about it. The project is focusing on the River West Eaton area. This section of the trail that comes down, which looks more like an access road, that's coming from Woodward Park, that is not within the scope of the project that's being improved. The improvements and the additional, the 2.4 miles of Eaton Trail and the River Parkway throughout the River West Fresno area will be accessible.
Okay, so it is applicable, but it's outside of the scope of work for this particular job.
Yes.
Correct, yes. And access is being provided to the new improvements via the new accessible parking that's being provided initially via the Woodward West access point, and then ultimately at the Riverview Drive access and also Palm Avenue access.
Within the scope of the job as well, last question, the bend right there on the eastern portion, just after the sidewalk, that's going to get an ADA accessible ramp, I would imagine, where it touches that intersection between Cobb Ranch Boulevard and the trail. Is that within the scope?
Correct. In the picture in the lower picture on the right hand side where the cursor is floating, that is the curb ramp that's being installed.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Any questions online?
Hi, Member Sharfer.
Yes.
Just a quick question, and sometimes, of course, when you're looking at it from here, we don't see all the same things you're looking at. But I'm wondering if this addendum, is this part, is it already the funding associated with it as part of the existing project? Or because it's outside of the scope, would this be a new expenditure that we should be looking to see?
This cost of this project, it was determined to be most cost effective to include it with the construction of the River West President Court project that's been authorized. And so the scope of work is just being amended to include this section of curb, gutter, and rail. And it would be far more costly to do a standalone project. So that's why we've chosen to extend the scope of work at the River West Fresno EIR and include this component of it because the cost is nominal when we're doing it that way.
So the costs have not been determined or included in the official project costs that we've already seen. These would be additional costs, nominal, but they would be additional.
No, they're currently in what you've seen. Yes.
Oh, they are in there. Okay.
They're in. Yeah, they're accounted for
Oh.
right now. This is just whatever you want, the proper steps to make sure that the overall project as analyzed under CEQA is compliant with the project that's currently being looked at and as in the scope of the overall project. But yeah, the improvements have been designed and the costs have been put into the overall project cost right now.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And we're currently working with the city of Fresno and Provost Temperature to provide the board a new updated cost proposal based on the value engineering that we previously discussed. So we'll be having that, I'm thinking, at our next board meeting. So we'll have an updated number for you and everyone.
Okay, any other questions? Any questions more questions online?
No.
Nope. Okay, I will bring it out to the audience. The public?
Thank you, Sharon Weaver with the River Parkway Trust. I just wanted to respond to Councilmember Richardson's comment. I wanted to point out that that's a really good question, and it's a question that I had when I first read through this information. And I just wanted to mention that since the city has Measure B funds that are specifically dedicated to the San Joaquin River Parkway, this is something that could be added in as a city project in the future using those Measure B funds. So that might be something to consider for next budget year.
Any other questions from the public or comments? All right, and we'll bring it back to the board.
I'll make the motion to approve the addendum.
Second. We've got a first and a second. They can fight it out. I don't. Well, no, she can't. She. All right.
Okay. Member Austin.
Yes.
Member Richardson.
Yes.
Member Mejia.
Yes.
Member Vance.
Yes.
Member Gresham.
Yes.
Member Forehand.
Yes.
Member O'Connell.
Yes.
Member Ruiz. Yes. Member Norris.
Yes.
Member Sharper.
Yes.
Member Hudson.
Yes.
Member Benson.
Yes.
The yeas have it.
All right. Okay, moving on to item F3.
So item F3 is to approve and adopt the revised Conservancy regulations. And I am having deja vu because we were just here doing this. So just to provide an update to you all, after the last time the board approved and adopted the regulations, and we submitted our package to the Office of Administrative Law, that was the first time that we were able to speak with an attorney on staff. And in their review process, they identified some issues with our submitted regulations. So we had a series of meetings to address those concerns, and the majority of which were deleting sections that were not necessary or language that was confusing to them. So we made those corrections. We resubmitted to the public for comment for 15 days, which that closed on the 27th. We received no comments because it was deletions. And now we're back for our next approval so that we can submit again to the Office of Administrative Law. this is the last and final opportunity for us to submit before our 1-year time frame with our NOPA expires. So I hope that everyone has had a chance to look at the strike through. There's a lot of deletions. If anyone has any questions, you're more than happy to ask me or Cheryl. We are thoroughly excited to submit again. If for some reason that they are not accepted this go round, we will have to start again.
No.
But we're experts now.
All right. Any questions from the board? Any questions online?
No.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the public? This has been the simplest one yet. All right, bring it back to the board. Do we have a motion? So moved. We have a first?
Second.
And a second.
Member Austin,
Yes.
member Richardson,
Yes.
member Mejia,
Yes.
member Vance,
Yes.
member Gresham,
Yes.
member Forehand,
Yes.
member O'Connell,
Yes.
member Ruiz. Yes. Member Norris,
Yes.
member Sharper,
Yes.
member Hudson,
Yes.
member Benson.
Yes.
The yeas have it.
Great. Okay, now administrative and committee report. Item G1, Deputy Attorney General Report.
Good afternoon, this is Jackie Vu. I've got nothing to report this month.
All right, thank you. And next, Executive Officer Report.
Okay, so we have had a busy month. If you all recall, at our previous board meeting, Ball Ranch was Quickly Ranch, I'm sorry, I'm still getting used to it as well, was currently closed because of the propane spill on Bryant. So consistent with our opening and closing properties procedure or policy, at this board meeting, it's my duty to let you know that the property was closed for 3 total days. And it has been open since then, and the Parkway Trust has been operating it. So moving on, we also have 2 new interns, and I think I mentioned that at our previous meeting, but we can officially introduce them, Emiliano, sorry, I'm getting them, and Gamble. They are joining us from Fresno State for this academic year, and one will be working with Robert, our parks maintenance worker 2, and they'll be doing restoration work or property improvements together. And he'll be learning all of those skills. And then Manuel will be the other, what is it, Emiliano is in the office and, okay. So then Emiliano will be working in the office with staff, and he'll be our volunteer services coordinator. So we're really looking forward to having them with us. They're working 2 to 3 days a week. And Ashley put together a little shout out on our social media. So if you guys saw that, then you've already gotten to know or see their picture and get a little bit to know about them.
Only one of them.
Only one of them?
No, I
Okay.
haven't caught Manuel in person.
All right.
Okay, so then, early in September, Wade Profit came to visit, and we in the city took him out to the Sparrow Park that overlooked for River West Fresno. We talked to him about all of the work that's being done, how close we are to going to construction, how excited we are to open up that property to the public for access.
Tell everyone who that is.
Oh, Wade Profit, oh, sorry, he's our Secretary for Natural Resources at CNRA. Thank you. So we were very pleased to have him, and we did a social media blast, and also we have a video, I think that his office is currently working on it. We'll be putting that up on our social media as well. I have an update on our fee policy. We are still working through making the corrections and clarifications that based off of public comment that we've received. And through our regulations process, we discovered that we have to do the same thing when we adopt our fee collection in our fee policy. So once we've determined the fees that we're going to charge in the future, we'll go through the regulations process again to add that language in with Office of Administrative Law. So just wanted to let the board know that we'll be going through that process a couple of times. There's one more time we'll have to do it. But it is, we are still planning to, bring that to the board in the future for adoption. Also on, I'm sorry, I should have put these together. Also on September 5th, there was a Council of Business Sponsors meeting. So the Central Valley Community Foundation put that on at the River Parkway Trust Barn. And we attended. Woody Crowfoot also came to that, and they were able to speak on bringing investments and partners to the Central Valley. And then they did touch upon our need on the Parkway. So when Ashley Swearingen comes, hopefully in November, she'll be able to provide more of an update on that and to show a very inspirational video. Okay, so I have an update on Prop 4. So we recently received guidance from CNRA that we are intending to receive our requested allocation of funds. And with that, before we can spend any of that money or allocate it to a project, we have to put forward guidelines, which is consistent with all the other bond funds that we receive. But this time, we have to put our regulations through the Office of Administrative Law. So thankfully, we do have an allowance for using the emergency regulations process. So it is a slightly abbreviated process of review that'll get these guidelines out faster, but we regardless have to go through the process. So like I said before, we know what we're doing now. So we're going to do it a couple more times. Yeah, Julie.
So for the Prop 4 allocation, is that just for fiscal year 25-26, or is that for a 5-year or longer duration?
So the bond goes for multiple years. The Conservancy requested over 5 million.
Yeah, we just did for this fiscal year and next fiscal year.
We requested all of our money in the first 2 fiscal years. Okay, so that was Prop 4. Then on September 11th, the city council meeting, at the city council meeting, the city council adopted a resolution which authorized the submission of the grant application for $5,550,000 for grant funding from the Wildlife Conservation Board. So that funding that this board has previously approved, the city had to adopt that resolution as well. That authorizes the execution of the grant-related documents for partial funding of the phase 1 of the core project of River West Fresno. So they adopted that, and then next, those documents and approvals will then go to the WCB meeting in February.
Will it be a consent item?
Yes. Unless it's pulled. So the Conservancy also hosted the All Conservancies virtual meeting on September 23rd. If you're, I think I talked about that at the last meeting. The All Conservancies meeting is all of the 10 state conservancies that we currently have, their executive officers and their senior staff. They meet and we talk about what's currently going on with our conservancy, what problems we're facing, and troubleshoot solutions with everyone else. So it's a great, and we do it twice a year. We do once in person, once virtually. It's a great time for all of us to get together and to collaborate. So we did host that. That was our first time hosting the All Conservancies meeting. And I think that we're on the schedule to host an in-person in a couple of years, because everyone wants to do that. We've also been working really closely with the city of Fresno, and we have a very strong partnership with them. I know previously I spoke to our operations and maintenance agreement that we entered into with them to support our properties that don't currently have an operator. So Jensen River Ranch and the extension property, they have taken over operations and maintenance, and they're using Measure P funds to complete that necessary work. So with the Measure P funding and allocations, they are also going to take on our Camp Pashan improvements. So we met with the city yesterday, and we did a walkthrough of the property with them, only on our portion of the property because we're still working on the transfer of jurisdiction for the other portion. But we talked about the necessary improvements that would be required prior to opening. And so we're getting together next week with the city and River Parkway Trust to talk about that in more detail. But we're really happy with their recommendations so far and their willingness to help. They've been great.
What are the recommendations as far as infrastructure to open? Remind me.
So we have to have facilities for restroom facilities. So on a temporary basis, we could have portable toilets, but we do need to have something. So the city we talked about that yesterday. They're thinking that it would be the best course of action to eliminate what's out there because it's just,
Scary.
yeah. And it's a really large space, so it's really inviting for other activities that aren't specific to the intended use of that structure. So they're hoping to eliminate some of those and cap off the drinking water fountains because the well has been, they don't know if that's viable anymore. And have new structures. So, but we're looking at the costs associated with it and the feasibility and what environmental documentation would be needed. So we're meeting next week to talk about that in more detail.
For the meetings with the city of Fresno, am I allowed to attend that?
If you want to,
Can you please let me know when they
it's
happen?
next week on the 8th
I won't
at
there.
4 o'clock.
Okay.
At our office. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yesterday Rebecca and I attended the State of the County and most of the board members also attended. That was I think a really great meeting to attend and it gave us an opportunity to really talk about the Conservancy and the Parkway and what we're doing and to get more support. And then I also wanted to extend another opportunity. If any of our board members want to go on a board member tour of the Parkway, I'm happy to do that. I know that I've had interest to have either, both actually, a driving tour and a canoe ride tour. So if anyone else has interest, please let me know and then we can consolidate if possible. Otherwise, I'm happy to do separate. And then I'm also really excited to announce or to share that the River Parkway Trust is going to start talking about our partnership efforts and our organization report. So that item G4 is an opportunity for the member or the agency leads or the nonprofit leads to come up and share more information about their organization, what they're doing. And Sharon and I recently had a conversation about having that be something more consistent because I really enjoyed, and I think that everyone on the board really enjoyed the presentation that we received from them last month about River Camp and how successful it was. And so moving forward, we would like to invite all of the other organizations to prepare presentations. And I do know that someone else today has prepared one, but Sharon is gonna lead the way and do that consistently. So thank you, Sharon. And that is all I have.
Okay,
A lot.
that was a lot. Good for you. Okay, any
Sorry to
questions?
interject right here. I just want to make sure, when we're having these outside meetings, make sure there's not a quorum and we're not accidentally having a serial meeting that's not noticed and, you know, violating bag leaking or we're having too many board members. That's, you know, just, we're not, just make sure there's not a quorum of board members outside of a notice meeting.
She may be
Yeah.
referring to the state of the
Yeah, I think
county,
so.
which is a public
Right.
event that is not a meeting.
It was a public
Yes.
event. We were all sitting at separate tables. We just saw each other.
Right, yes, no, just, I just want to make sure, you know.
Right,
Um,
no, we
I-
did not meet,
no.
and nor did we even discuss the
I
consent.
don't even think there were 8 of you there.
I think we
that-
said hi.
I think, right, I think that I think at most I counted like 6. 4.
Okay.
The three of us.
Yes, no, I just want us to be aware of that, you know, just.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Thank you for the reminder though, Jackie.
Thank you.
Oh, and one last thing, I'm so sorry. So I didn't share this with the strategic plan, but we are continuing to accept or, you know, have conversations with the public and the stakeholders and get ideas on what should be included in that. And I will be holding office hours starting next week on Tuesday mornings, and I believe Wednesday afternoon, we're gonna post it on our events calendar for anyone from the public or any of the board members, as long as there's not a quorum, to come and join me in the office and talk more in detail about that. So.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Yes.
Got an announcement, happy to make this announcement, by the way, after 29 years of state service, I'm planning on retiring at the end of this year.
Okay.
So next month will be my last scheduled meeting as a board member.
Wow. This just took a dark turn. Yeah.
29 years of doing mostly one thing is enough of doing one thing,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Motion to deny.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, congratulations.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Any other board members wish to report or comment? Anybody from Sacramento? Anybody online? Nope. Okay. And then organization reports?
So good afternoon again, Sharon with the San Joaquin River Parkway and Conservation Trust. And I think everybody really enjoyed hearing from our Climate Corps intern, our graduating Climate Corps intern at the last meeting. We have 2 new Climate Corps fellows, not interns, I'm using the wrong terminology. They just started with us. So I invited Sophie Jimenez to come in and just introduce herself to you today.
Yeah, hi everyone, my name is Sophie Jimenez. I am one of 2 California Climate Action Corps fellows serving at the San Joaquin River Parkway and Conservation Trust. The CCAC is an initiative created by the Officer of the Governor to address the climate crisis by focusing on climate outreach, education, and volunteerism. Thank you.
So hopefully you'll be hearing more from her and our other climate fellow, Joanne, in the future. But I did prepare a few slides to share with you today. It should be the Sumner Peck Ranch Restoration Planning Progress Report. So I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. So we have recently had a couple of meetings with the Conservancy and Wildlife Conservation Board, and you can go ahead and advance to the next slide. And so Carrie thought it might be helpful for me to just kind of give you an overview of what we've been talking about and how we've been approaching our restoration plan for the site at Sumner Peck Ranch. So just a little bit of background, since we do have quite a few new board members with the Conservancy. The trust purchased the property in December of 2020. We utilized a grant from the Conservancy, which goes through the Wildlife Conservation Board, and WCB manages those funds, along with a $96,000 match of private land acquisition funding that the trust holds. So the grant from the Conservancy was $3.6 million. We put in $96,000 and we purchased the property. When we first applied for this grant, we proposed that we would take on the long-term operations and maintenance of the site. We wanted to retain fee title. And our purpose in doing that is that we know that there is a lot of land that's been purchased for the parkway that isn't yet open to the public. And, the state has specific things that it has to do. The Conservancy has specific rules about how to open properties for the public. And as a nonprofit, we have a little more flexibility. We feel like we can move a little faster to get things open and to get things rolling along. So that's why we wanted to hold title to this property, is so that we could get it open to the public as soon as possible. Go ahead. So as part of our acquisition, in addition to wanting to have the site open for public access, we also are committed to returning the property from agriculture back into open space wildlife habitats. And the nice thing about this site is that it was just converted to agriculture in 2008. It's relatively recent that it changed over to irrigated agriculture. So we can look back at photos, see what it looked like, and then of course we have reference sites right around us with Ledger Island and the Ball Ranch right next to us. This was all originally part of the same ownership. And so we have good ideas of what kind of habitat is going to work at that site. So it's a 76-acre site. About 36 of those acres are irrigated ag land, and that's what we're focusing on in our restoration planning. Go ahead. So there are constraints on doing habitat restoration projects on the San Joaquin River. Of course, the big constraint is just the changes to the river over time. With Bryant Dam on the San Joaquin, about 90% of the river's flow is diverted every year. So the river has changed very dramatically We've had lots of sand and gravel mining on the river, so the geology of the region has changed as well. And so our focus, because then we gotta have a little picture, make everybody happy, cute bunnies. So our focus, this is weird, this mic keeps going in and out, I think. Okay, so our focus is on improving habitat for wildlife while recognizing that we're not going to change the existing conditions of the river. The dam is in place. We're not planning to do any significant earthwork on the site, which is sometimes a part of habitat restoration. We think that the terraces on the site are already functioning floodplains, so we think we can work within the existing contours. So here's an overview of Sumner Peck Ranch. This does not include the whole property. This is focusing just on the part of the property that is developed into agriculture. So the purple area that you see there, we're looking at all of that area as potential oak savanna habitat. I actually think the next slide is going to point that out. But all of that purple area is mostly, sorry, go ahead. I may have taken out that slide. Can you go back?
Well, there's an oak one next.
Yeah, go ahead and go back. Thank you. So the purple area we're going to look at primarily as oak savanna habitat. That's where the vineyard is being removed. There's a 4-acre fallow field that is also in purple and adjacent to that blackberry patch that is in bright green. And that is a lower terrace. So we're thinking that's going to be mixed riparian woodland, slightly different habitat type. Good. So we have a number of reference documents to work with on this project. So we reviewed all these different documents to come up with a plan that made sense for the site. So this is just a list of those documents, including San Joaquin River Parkway Master Plan, the restoration program, restoration objectives, and then there's a more specific habitat opportunities analysis that River Partners completed several years ago, and that was specific to Ball Ranch and the Willow Unit, which are adjacent to the site. So we have a lot of good information about the habitat types in this area, and we didn't feel like we needed to go through, another detailed planning process. We felt like we have enough information that we can work with the information that's already available. So Valley Oak Savanna is what we're looking at for the upland sections of the site, and that would be, we've got, as I said, perfect reference sites. That's what it's meant to look like 100 years from now. It'll take a while for the oaks to get that big. But I think that's a beautiful photo from Ledger Island, and that's ultimately what we want to have out at Sumner Peck Ranch. So valley oaks with low density shrubs and native forests. And then the terrace, the floodplain terrace would be mixed riparian woodland, so more cottonwoods and water intensive plants in that area. Go ahead next. So our progress on this, in 2023, we submitted a proposal to the National Environmental Education Foundation, NEEF, to do some pollinator planting at the site. And we targeted actually both Fresno River West and Sumner Peck Ranch, the open field at Sumner Peck Ranch. That was approved. We got the funding, we did the drill seeding. I have a couple of photos to show you the results of that project. So we did that back in 2024. And then in late 2024, we held a couple of planning charrettes to talk about the larger restoration project at the site in preparation for submitting a funding proposal to the Environmental Enhancement Fund Office of Civil Response Grant Program. So we scored pretty well on that proposal, but I think we were in the top 20, but they only funded the top 12 proposals. So we didn't quite make the funding cut on that one. However, the grant reviewers liked our proposal enough that they reached out and said, we think there's another funding source that you can apply to for this project. And they just recently provided that information to us. So that's the proposal that you see listed on the bottom to the National Fish and Wildlife Federation Impact Directed Environmental Accounts program. So we have applied to that program, and I'm not sure how soon we'll hear about that. In the meantime, we have also applied to a corporate funder that may be willing to fund this project. We're still waiting to hear back from them as well. So here are a few pictures just of the pollinator planting. It looks like a video, but it's really not a video, sorry. I didn't embed the video because I knew it would make the presentation too large. I'll show it to you if you want to see it. So we drill seeded, we actually contracted with River Partners to do the drill seeding out there in March of 2024. So there's a picture of what the field looked like while they were drill seeding it. In May, this is what it looked like. So you can see it's really successful. Pollinator planting, got lots of exciting new flowers out there. And then one more slide just showing as it's growing out more in June of 2024. So finally, just to mention, we've done some additional coordination. We've held meetings in August and then a couple of meetings in September. We have another meeting scheduled for tomorrow to talk more about restoration planning. We have shared some documents that were requested with WCB and the Conservancy, along with our draft restoration and property management plan. And so we're looking forward to continuing that work. And I just wanted to mention here, I did a little question and answer session with our staff this morning, just asking them, what do you hear about the San Joaquin River Parkway when you're out in the community? What do you hear from people? Because I feel like some of the misconceptions that happen around Sumner Peck Ranch are similar to misconceptions that we face with the parkway as a whole. And so one of the things that we hear about is that, you know, people think that they don't know what the San Joaquin River Parkway is, but then if you ask a few more questions, you say, have you ever been to Lost Lake Park? You say, oh, yeah, I've been there. And it's like, well, that's a parkway property. So then they become more familiar if you help them kind of identify what the parkway is. So one of the things that I think happens with Sumner Peck Ranch in particular, because we have solitary sellers leasing the buildings at the front of the site, and they have a big sign at the front, it's very visible. A lot of people that drive by that property or that come into that property look at it and they're under the impression that that property belongs to solitary sellers. So that's creating confusion. I understand that's a problem. And so I'm interested to hear ideas on how we can improve that situation. So I feel like some of the issue here is we have maybe a perception problem that people think, oh, the state gave a grant and now there's a winery operating the site. That's not exactly how it works. So the River Parkway Trust owns and operates the site. Solitary sellers rents a small amount of space from us, and we do that because they're keeping the site open to the public, which is exciting. So some of the thoughts that we have this morning is putting some parkway materials in the winery building so that when people are visiting, they can read about the parkway. Maybe putting a sign. I know that solitary sellers would like this, but I'm not really concerned about that. So when people are walking into the winery, an interpretive sign or something about the parkway so that people understand this is a facility that is meant to add to the parkway. It's not meant to take away value from the parkway, something like that. And then overall, I think it just kind of highlights our need to do more comprehensive marketing about the parkway. And that's something that we're excited about moving forward with this year. Do I have any other slides there? Or is that the last one? Okay, questions?
You have to take a stab in the dark and guess the geographic distance between solitary sellers, the edge of their property, and the water line of the river. How far would you say that is?
So the buildings at the front of the site, I believe that they are about a quarter of a mile. My runner can tell me the distances better than I can estimate them.
The reason I ask is it might be fun to put together some sort of like vine walk.
Yes.
Something where they put an event on, where they make some money off it, but it also takes some of their customers and walks them down to the river so they get a little different experience than being indoors or just on a patio with solitary sellers. I do that.
Well, funny you should mention that. Next year, we're going to have a wine walk. It's not specifically with solitary sellers. It's going to be somewhere else on the parkway, but we'll lead you in.
Is it alliterative? It has to be alliterative. It has to be two W's. I'll bring Dr. Tellis. We'll put the image from.
He better be there.
Yes.
The Valley Oak Savannah is just simply a majestic ecosystem. It's to me on a par almost with the sequoias. So I can't say how exciting it is, and that we have models nearby of what we're looking at. I would love, I don't know if it's to Carrie or you, if I'd be interested in seeing the draft restoration plan. I'm really grateful that River Partners is going to be involved as well. You know, just that's the main comment is go at this. And if this was just transitioned to ag recently, I wonder what sort of land memory there is to have this come back. I think it's probably there, even in seed banks, but I'm interested in a restoration plan just for curiosity's sake. The winery, I've gone there. They have things to teach us as far as how to market. And I think we have a very compelling frame with the habitat and the biodiversity to bring forward. But in any case, it's popular and we want people accessing out there. And so just keep having those conversations and fine tuning that branding and marketing so it fits the purposes of the Parkway and the Conservancy and any of these partner groups. But congratulations, this is exciting.
When the Parkway proposed acquisition of the site, what was the ultimate plan for the winery? And hasn't it changed?
When we first planned to acquire it, I thought we might want to tear those buildings down. And so the future cost of demolition was part of what I had in mind. But I also thought they might be useful as educational facilities, as, you know, special event facilities. So we did talk about using that area for special events in our grant proposal. We hadn't made any like final determination. We were kind of thinking about all of those possibilities. And while we were in escrow, we were contacted by somebody, not one of the owners of Solitary Cellars, but somebody that was just aware of them and knew that they were looking for a new place to relocate. And he contacted me and he said, well, I heard you're acquiring this property and I think this could be a win-win for everybody. And I said, well, I can't tell you that we're acquiring the property, but, you know, let's talk in a few months and we'll see what we can work out. So when I started talking with them, it did seem like it was a great opportunity for us to open the property more quickly because we really want to have people on site whenever a property is open to the public. And since they're open 7 days a week, that gives us, you know, people on site, eyes on the ground all the time. So that's kind of how it came about.
So what's your ultimate plan? Is it to continue the lease or kind of TBD or?
I think it's to be determined, and I mean, we want to know, you know, from the Conservancy and WCD what everybody wants to see out there. We're not, you know, we're not totally set on anything. I like having them out there. I think there's a benefit because I think it brings a lot of people to the Parkway who wouldn't otherwise benefit, you know, visit the Parkway, and so I like it for that reason. However, if they stay out there, they have to increase their rent quite a bit in the future if we renew their lease, because we've learned over time how much it costs just to maintain the landscaping around that facility. So if they, you know, decide that they want to renew their lease, it's an 8-year lease right now, we will have to renegotiate that. We've had initial conversations about that, and they were put off by the number that I told them we would have to increase their rent to. So who knows where that's gonna go.
One quick question.
Yeah.
I know that I was out there couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years, and there was the dinner that was down by the water.
Right.
But that's the only time I think I've been aside from where the buildings are going forward. There are no established trails there currently that you could have people going, other than we're talking about a wine walk, but you're talking about that being a one-time event or I don't know, something along those lines. But is there something already like established as an availability to get
There are
water?
Yes, there are dirt trails throughout the site. There are dirt roads that exist. And so there's a really nice walk that we take people on, you know, we host walks out there. So if you haven't done it, then Brad, you need to sign up and let's take it out there because it's beautiful.
No, I just think that the whole thing, because you're right, because I think that the winery attracts people.
Right.
It's like, you know, from a tourism or winery type of thing, but then taking them to the water, I think is key in the whole thing so that you kind of connect it, because I do think that people kind of stay at the building and then don't go because it is quite set
I'm sure that that is true for most people that are going out there. However, I can tell you that on multiple occasions when I've been out there, people are out at the river's edge with their wine glasses and their wine bottles.
Okay.
And so Solitary Cellars does tell people they can do that because they can walk down to the river and that there are picnic tables down there. So some people do that. I think it probably just depends on whether people want to walk around or not.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments or questions? Any online?
No,
Thank you.
thank you.
That's very good. Okay, our next board meeting, November 5th. Oh, other organizations. I apologize. Oh, come on up. We're going to hear about me. I can't believe I forgot you, Richard.
I'll try to make this quick, but this really got me going with the trail. And there are some great trails out there at Sumner Peck. And when I was the chair of the local Sierra Club Tiffany chapter, I used to lead hikes from the Wagner property by the dam. And we very frequently let us walk to his property on the Madeira side and across the bridge at Ledger Island. And then we stop and have wine and sandwiches and stuff at the Sumner Peck stand there. Yeah, really handy, a lot of fun. It's a great area in there. This is our report for the Fresno Canoe and Kayak Club from September 6th until today. We conducted the following activities. Every Wednesday, we have a river trip going from either and or Bryant Cove and Lost Lake to the Lanes property. On the 11th of September, we did our first wake on the river with the reception afterwards being at the Sumner Peck Winery. September 6th, at River West, the West End, we did a large cleanup of an abandoned camp at Canoe and Kayak. We had 15 volunteers, 12 watercraft, and we estimate over 1,000 pounds of trash were removed from the abandoned camp. We paddled upstream from Pomonese to where the camp was, about 1.5 miles. September 14th, we did a picnic trip by canoe from Lost Lake, stopping at Circle B Ranch in the Oaks there, and then we took out at Wildwood. September 21st, there were 3 abandoned camps on the Jensen Genco property. With 3 volunteers and 1 park ranger, we moved 3 truckloads of trash from 2 of the 3 abandoned camps. Then the next Sunday, we went back September 27th and took out 2 more truckloads cleaning up that camp. September 28th, with 3 volunteers, we moved 1 trailer load of trash from the east end of River West. And then we pre-positioned heavy trash next to the river for a cleanup that we're planning to do this coming Saturday by both canoe and onshore. We're gonna have 2 different groups. And then there were 4 active camps when we scouted it just the other day. And our team came in, the Highway Patrol has been in there, and the people in the camps have kind of moved around and moved their tents, but for the most part, they're all still in there at River West. And today we got a river trip going as well. I couldn't make that one. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions from the board or online? Oh,
Are you advertising the trash pickups?
On Facebook and word of mouth, we try to be really careful about who participates in the cleanups because, for instance, on the Jensen property, we found over 20 hypodermic needles in that camp. So the first part of any cleanup is scouting to see what hazmat might be in there. Then the second thing is how are we going to get rid of the trash and how are we going to access the property, and what do we need for safety? Whether we need a park ranger to come in or sheriff or highway patrol.
do you have a hazmat group come in if there's lots of needles out there, or do you
No, we tackled that
Okay, and
ourselves.
do you need
We
some
use
sort of
service
containers from medical, so you need a donation from a medical waste company?
That helps.
Okay,
That definitely helps. What we do use now, we did have a donation for a while, here a few, but we've used those up.
okay,
And,
Let me know.
bottles are acceptable, so we paint them red and put sharps on them. And then Station 13 Fire Department will accept the.
they have
carry
kiosks
bottles.
there. Okay.
But, and the other thing is, we have reputed dangerous inhabitants, and we've got 2 camps that have, people that are really, really sketchy. One lives on the island at, Wildwood, and the CHP has removed him. He spent 4 days in jail. He's back now. The CHP has been out there twice to tell him to, leave, but he hasn't yet. Now the river has come up, which is gonna add to the problem. I'm putting him in one of our canoes, handcuffing him, and putting one of our canoes to take him back to shore. Taking him to jail or into Madeira.
Like something you see on a TV sitcom. Yeah. Yes,
John,
Said Saturday on the knees, what time?
7:30.
7:30.
Yeah, or if you're on the onshore, then you can meet us at Wildwood at 8:15.
okay. Any other questions or comments? Any online? Thank you, Richard. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Any other organizations? Feel terrible, I almost overlooked Richard. Okay, I might owe you a cup of coffee when I see it Uncle Harry's next time. All right, now, the next board meeting, November 5th, 9 AM, Fresno Metropolitan Flood Control. Everybody knows where that is? Yep, that'll be the Fresno one, Fresno Metropolitan Flood Control on Olive. All right, and I adjourn this meeting. 8 minutes, 7 minutes to. Look at you.
High management.
Gonna drop tonight.